Mr. Rothschild, how you doing, sir? Can you tell us what went on at the Bilderberg meeting this year?
Sorry?
Can you tell us what went on at the Bilderberg meeting this year? This year? This year? This year?
This is a red alert warning. California is under attack. What are we going to do about this, guys? I mean, really, somehow, some way, I mean, are we just going to lay here and take this? God help you people in California, because y'all guys are being burnt out. How are they going to get all these people to leave? Because people aren't just going to voluntarily just uproot their life. But they'll damn sure move if you set their neighborhood on fire. I live, about a mile from the ocean, so I wonder what they're going to use here to get rid of us out of this area, because this is one of the areas that Agenda 2030, you know, the United Nations Agenda 2030, their plan for a sustainable planet.
Guys, welcome in.
What I'm getting ready to show you is unbelievable. I mean, it breaks all rules of logic, above all rules of reality, and all rules of how things naturally happen on this planet. Let me show you. What you're looking at is the state of California. And let's just zoom in here. This is the Kincaid fire right in the center of the screen. It's still expanding, still growing, still blazing out of control. It's probably at this point the largest fire in the history of California by quite a bit. And that's bad enough in itself, because many people are losing everything they got, and some of them their lives. But up to the left, upper left, you see that other black dot? That's another new fire today that has started, that's blazing. And you see the one down to the lower right? That's another new fire that started a little earlier. And that's strange. Those fires, there's 3 fires in a line. That's really strange. What's more strange is that there's 4 fires in a line. Another one started a couple hours ago. As you can see right there, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, look, there's number 5 down there in the lower right-hand corner. Number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fires in a straight line, about the same distance apart. And if you look, you can see flashes going on down in the lower right-hand corner as well. You'll see a flash here in just a moment. It's a plasma pulse. But 5, it just is not enough. They gotta have more than that. So let's take it to 6. See the one in the lower right? You got 6 fires and additional pulses popping off around the area as well. It's dark, see that pulse? Those dark spots are fires. I guarantee it 100%. I know what I'm talking about. And you also got a fire right here, right now, right in the center of the screen from that pulse. There's another one there now. See that? Yeah. Got another one. And down the line, if you look at that line, because it is a line of fires, pretty much a straight line. And if you come down here, you'll start seeing things, I'm sure, very shortly. There'll probably be another fire, another pulse, another fire. But 6 fires and additional pulses coming along should be enough for anybody that's a naysayer and to say, oh, these fires are just natural, they happen all the time. And sure they do. But they don't happen like this. This is undeniable that there's something diabolical going on.
Hi, everybody. It is now October 31, 2019. A whole lot of fires are erupting in California. This is Fullerton, a new fire that broke out earlier today.
Definitely some healthy trees down there. It's hard to tell exactly what the landscape is. It looks to be about medium fuel, but maybe even at some point some taller trees as well. Just a little bit difficult to tell based on the limited light that we're working with here. But again, you are looking about due west in this shot right here, and that is Castlewood Drive along the left-hand side of your screen, and where it curves up to the right near the top, that is Gilbert Street. And just in the last couple of minutes that we have been on scene, you can see additional engines moving into this area very aggressively. A cavalry of fire trucks now pulling into position here, and they are going to make every effort possible to prevent this fire from jumping those 2 roads. That's the direction this fire is moving in. That's the direction the smoke is blowing towards. And that is the direction where, if it was to jump one of those roads, we would have some property in danger here. So right now, this looks like a relatively tame situation compared to the fires that we've been looking at for most of the day. And again, a very aggressive firefight underway here in Fullerton. But as of right now, they are doing an excellent job of at least trying to keep this fire away from those 2 roads, or at least prevent it from jumping. But nonetheless, you can see there is some wind down there. That means that there's always the potential for embers to go flying into that neighborhood, in which case we would have a whole nother situation.
That's right. It's in the 31600 block of Tick Canyon Road. They're calling it the Tick Fire. Started at 1:40 this afternoon. Quickly spread above 200 acres. They just went 3rd alarm on this. You can see it's burning in some very flashy fuels down here, spreading very quickly. There's some ranch area down there being threatened as well. They're calling for structure protection in that area. There's the one area right there. You can see fire encroaching upon it right on the edge of the smoke here as we push in, with Colton showing you how it's spreading right up to that trailer area. But it's a very dangerous fire being pushed by heavy winds coming out of the north down through the canyon here. But it's burning, like I said, very flashy fuels, which burn very quickly and spread very quickly, and they're very dangerous because they're hard to get ahead of and hard to slow down because they get so big so quick. But right now you can see how the size of this fire. We're right over the 14 freeway right now on the south side. I'm going to slowly make my way around to the north side of the fire to see what's going on that side. But you can see a very wide fire line that goes at 200 acres plus now, no doubt. And like I said, being pushed by a pretty good wind coming straight out of the north. Just speaking with some folks that live down here, and they say their power is shut off for this area already. They've already been told 24 to 48 hours for their power to be out due to the heavy winds. We don't know what the cause of this fire here right now, but it just started right at 140 here and took off and ran to the west here, right through these little sparsely populated area along Tick Canyon Road.
All right, I'm here with a guest we're going to call Angel. He contacted me through instant messaging and Facebook. He has proprietary information about the makeup of these fires, the origins. He has much experience in the field of technology, vast experience, as you'll understand more in the field of technology. And I really appreciate you, sir, coming on. We're going to give him the name Angel, because a lot of the information he's sharing is new to all of us, and we need to disseminate and understand how deep, how vast, how advanced, how micro particulate matters work and whatnot. Are we still correct to use that terminology with now what we understand the event horizon is?
Sure. It's still a directed energy weapon, no matter how you look at it. And it's not just a singular weaponized mechanism that they're using or that is being used.
It's multiple focuses, multiple purposes. What I say is multiple purposes and multiple events. They're harvesting the trees. They only burn the trees up 20 feet and only the bark, and that ponderosa pine is still completely harvestable. They got PG&E laying in, all these cables everywhere, and they're clearing the roads up for the train tracks. I mean, they're doing many things, but it's understanding that it's a multi-pronged attack. It's like an octopus, right?
Sure. Matter of fact, I think it was in 2017 or 2016, right around there was a TED Talks that had a particular forestry think tank individual got on there and said that, quote unquote, we have an epidemic of trees.
Oh my god, please keep the horses there. Please, God, please. Please, God, please. Oh my God. Oh my God, please let me out of here. Please, God. Please, God, please let me out of here. Please, God. Please. Oh my God. 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 What am I doing? Oh my God. Oh my God, please help me, please help me. Please, God, please let me out.
along comes fire suppression and logging, removing the big trees, and you know what happened? All these factors work together to allow the forest to fill in, creating what I call the current epidemic of trees.
Well, the Getty Fire started about 1:30 this morning. Getty Fire has quickly scorched over 500-plus acres, as well as several structures.
The 405 southbound has been closed from the 101 freeway to Sunset Boulevard, causing a major traffic situation for morning commuters. Fire officials are also asking people to stay off of Sunset Boulevard.
At this point, we know that at least 7 homes have been destroyed. Mandatory evacuation still in effect for at least 10,000 structures. The current zone is extending to the west from the 405 to Temescal Canyon Road. Mulholland remains on the north border and Sunset remains on the south border. That may change a bit. They may extend those evacuation orders.
We're going to keep you posted on that. UCLA and Santa Monica College are among the schools canceling classes today. A number of schools, in fact, have been canceled. And check our website, abc7.com, for more information on that. We'll continue to monitor the situation because that could be in flux as well as these fires continue to move and kind of flux throughout these various neighborhoods. The idea that they are dealing with some brush, as Captain Silverman told us, that has been there for many years since it's seen a fire, some very dry chaparral and trees, etc. So there's a tremendous amount of brush there that could burn. And keep this in mind, even if they get this fire under control, when those winds kick up again on Tuesday, Wednesday into Thursday, there's always that chance for a spot fire to suddenly pop up again due to hot spots that often stay alive for days to even weeks after a fire. So something to stay vigilant about.
I will go to public comment. I do have one card. This is on item 44A, which is the declaration of proclamation of emergency due to the de-energization. Deborah Tavares.
Thank you very much. This is Deborah Tavares with StopTheCrime.net. We do live in the WUI, the Wildlands Urban Interface, and with a power shutdown, we have no water, unless we've prepared, and we have. There are many neighborhoods now that have brought in additional tanks, fire hoses, gel. We are on our own, and we're going to be in clogged roads, narrow roads, if we did try to bug out with our life in a backpack. So I would alert everybody to go to StopTheCrime.net because we have posted the Fire Power Outage Community Awareness Preparedness Meeting information that was conducted by a 30-year retiree fire captain. We are being given information through this, more than we are being given information how to harden up than I've ever heard anywhere else, and I attend all the fire meetings. We are aware exactly what's going on. Everybody right now, when you leave this room, look up. We are being heavily aerosol sprayed right now, which is heavy combustible metal spraying. And that is exactly what happened prior to the fires of 2 years ago, prior to the fires in Paradise, Redding, and on and on and on. Now, you can continue to say you don't understand what's going on, but many people do. And we're very concerned about the disinformation when our lives, property are at stake. And I know that this is an enormous, undiscussed, factual reality of weather events. I will tell you, several years back, I went to the PG&E Weather Control Central in the 16th floor of the PG&E headquarters. They know exactly the kinds of weather events that are occurring because they have patents and permits in the state for weather modification. And PG&E is Rothschild. Make no mistake. Thank you.
So if you ask me, and you are, that is exactly what we're talking about. So that nanoparticulate, so really it's not coming from me. This information isn't coming from me. This information is coming from pretty much you. And then then you take that and you put it on the video, and then watch those embers fly against the wind, hover in grooves, and then find their way into cracks and crevices because that's what they do. And they incinerate at such high temperatures. That's why the color or the spectrum, and you're not going to pick all that up on video of the cell phones because they have filters in them.
That's the blue. That's the blue we see. We see the blue. Is that what you're talking about? When we see the blue light?
That is exactly. Well, you're getting the blue light because of the heat of it, heat of the incendiary device, which would be the nanotechnologies that are clustering together. And eventually they just turn into almost like a talcum powder. So that is just one spectrum of the attacks.
So what you're saying is what I'm learning too is these embers are basically nanobots. I mean, swarming nanobots of fire embers that are controlled in masses, and they artificial intelligence, and they can group together in any type of form or shape. The GPS, they can locate anything they want, and then they will incinerate. And then, as you were saying, after they incinerate, you see that white dust, as that's them self-imploding, self-destructing. But they can manufacture themselves. They can self-replicate into much bigger sizes too, right?
Absolutely, and they don't necessarily have to be very large to be destructive. They just have to be in numbers. So when they replicate in numbers. But the size that I was able to witness, not only firsthand with my own eyes, and I've been in a wildfire, a true wildfire. You can't call these wildfires. Wildfires do not selectively burn and not burn. A fire burns at a fetal rate. So you got to go back to raw science and raw chemistry, and that we know. And we know that everything has a flashing point. And that being said, with just a little bit of deployed common sense, you can decipher what's reality and what's a fictitious, made-up scheme of just a mantra. And the reality is that unless you have another technology at hand, wood, cannot burn at the rate to melt aluminum. Now, coal can, but under controlled circumstances, like a forge. Well, a forest fire is not a forge. So
here it is. This is Vallejo, and this again started at 9 o'clock this morning. It is burning along the coastal area of Vallejo into that harbor area. This is the area that's near what used to be officially known as Cal Maritime Academy, but it's now CSU, Cal State University Maritime, and we're showing you this is 80. This is 80 right in the Vallejo area, and in a minute or a couple of seconds, there's the toll bridge. That's the toll bridge at the Carquinez Bridge, and you just see just above the toll bridge the flames burning right up to the I-80 area. This is why I-80 is closed in both directions at that area. So if you are heading towards San Francisco, don't plan on going on 80. And if you know people in San Francisco, maybe they just flew in, or they, they're coming back from a weekend away. They're going to have to find a different way to get back to the Sacramento area. This is the outskirts of what is known as Cal Maritime Academy. And the flames burning down, there's the research vessel right there docked, and you can see the flames. That's the campus. That's the campus of what is now CSU Maritime, burning right down to the level.
Volunteers bringing lost animals to this shelter at Pierce College, offering desperately needed food and comfort to animals of all shapes and sizes. Anxious residents returning to see the damage. This man finding his home intact and, more importantly, his horse unharmed.
Come here. Oh.
Grateful to be able to give him a hug.
Baby.
$55,000 acres and counting here in Sonoma County. The containment overnight cutting in half from 10 to 5%. This while hundreds of thousands of people in the area forced to evacuate, and they don't know when they're going to get to come home and what they're going to be coming home to, while firefighters fight for life and property.
The governor of California declaring a statewide emergency as those potentially historic winds fuel multiple wildfires. One of the newest erupting right there in Vallejo, north of San Francisco, burning up a hill, threatening the homes you see, and families forced to evacuate with fire on both sides of the road.
As of the recording of this video, there are at least 16 major fires burning in California. It's overwhelming just to look at a fire map of California, as you can get a bird's eye view of the vast amount of land these fires are consuming. Every major news outlet is covering the devastation. They're letting viewers know how many people are being evacuated, how many square miles are being consumed, how many homes have been destroyed, but nobody's talking about investigating who the hell started all this devastation in the first place. Now let me posit something here. One of the best ways the planet cools itself is through ground cover, like shrubs and trees. Eliminate the trees and you eliminate the shade and the very thing that converts CO2 to life-giving oxygen. With the elimination of hundreds of acres of ground cover, you automatically increase the heat and the CO2 and dramatically reduce the air quality. And voila, the fire brings instant climate change. Guys, never forget that UN Agenda 2030 is still on the table, and one of the major goals is to drive people out of the country and steer them towards smart, controlled surveillance cities. The government wants you to be dependent on them alone. The more people who depend on them, the more powerful they become.
Just get on to Mr. Yes. Fletcher. Another question on the in an interview with the Los Angeles Times on April 21st, you said that you told the Associated Press that the American government has created weather tampering techniques so that the New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans and to control the rest. Would you explain what you were trying to say?
Well, what I was trying to say is exactly what I said. There is weather control techniques. We have a complete package on that, which I did not bring, but I certainly will see to it that it is brought in for the record. Number one, the entire patents on the equipment. Number two, Senator Claiborne Pell's complete statement and story of his own that not only does it exist, but that we even utilized it as far back as the Vietnam War. You might want to touch base with Senator Pell.
I just want to repeat before I turn to
questions. Yes, but we do have all that information.
You're saying the government has created weather tampering techniques so that the, quote, New World Order will be able to starve millions of Americans.
Worldwide.
Millions of Americans, and to control the rest.
Yes, sir, and that's my belief. As bizarre as that sounds, if somebody had told me that that equipment even existed 10 years ago, I would have thought they were nuts, sir. And at this point in time, we have all the documents to prove it. And if you think that 85 tornadoes takes place in the middle of our growing area by simultaneous accident, I'm sorry. With the equipment that's already set up internationally, and as bizarre as that is, it is proven and documented. We will supply you with those documents. As bizarre as that is, I would say that weather wars, and this is quoting actually Senator Claiborne Pell himself, that they are the greatest weapon ever created in the world, and that's the senator's own statement. So yes, I do stand on that.